Okay. All right, welcome back. And you guys probably remember Oliver. He was in our first session. And this is going to be about his fourth lesson. The last few lessons we've just done more of the same, more of reinforcing the off cue, more of having him not bug my space. You can see, compared to the first video, he's already staying, he's staying out of my space a little bit better. And so we're going to kind of pick up today, and I'll show you what you can expect after a couple of sessions and what it should look like when you've got a horse that's as mouthy and pushy as Oliver. So I'm just going to go right ahead and start off with an off cue. Good. I'm not going to wait for him to come to my hand and then leave, because I don't want him to learn that he gets his treat from coming and mugging and then leaving. If I put my hand out and he stays right off, then I'm not even going to wait for him to do the wrong thing. I'm going to click that right away. I'll go ahead and present my hand, off, click, and treat. Good job. And the next thing that I'm going to start working towards is being able to touch his face with my hand without him being mouthy on my hand. He hasn't been a horribly aggressive biter. He doesn't try to be mean, but he thinks this is kind of a fun game. So usually if I reach out to touch him, that instigates a little bit more of the mouthy behavior. So I'm going to start working towards presenting my hand to him and not having him come at me with his mouth. And you can see he's starting to really understand that when he hears the click sound, then it's okay for him to come for his treat. But if I present my hand out like this, he knows that it's not time yet, and he knows to respect my hand. And that way, if I come out, if I want to clip a lead rope onto his halter, if I want to do anything around his mouth, I don't have to worry about him taking my finger by accident, expecting a treat. So with a horse like him, if he's really mouthy, I might start kind of approaching him in an area where he's not going to be less likely to get mouthy. I might see if I can touch him here. That was good. And I might see if I can come in and touch him a little bit higher up. Good. Very good. And the other thing that we didn't mention in the first video, but is very important, is you need to make sure you do this on both sides. This horse is going to get used to not mugging me and retrieving treats on this side, but not so much on the other side. So a lot of times you'll get a behavior down really well on one side, then you'll switch sides and all of a sudden everything falls apart. Well, that's okay, that's completely normal. It just means you need to balance that out and make sure that you're working both sides of your horse equally. So on this side we'll kind of try the same thing. See if I can touch his neck. Good. You'll see there he heard the click and he knew that it was time for his cookie. Now, according to your preferences, you can kind of shape this however you like. He's kind of turning his head away from me on this side a little bit, and it's just because he's trying really hard. He's really trying, he's saying, look, I'm not mouthing you, I'm not mouthing you. He's really trying to do the right thing. For me, I'm going to click that. As you get more advanced, if you don't want him to turn away, you can just wait and click when he's straight, or wherever it is that you would like him to be. And that's the neat thing about the clicker, is it enables you to really pick any behavior that you like and reinforce it. I won't reinforce that behavior if I don't like it. And if he needs to leave, it's okay. Very good. Now before that first session, I would have come out and put my hand out, and he immediately would have come after my hand with his lips and his mouth. So he's making giant progress, and I'm very pleased with the steps that he's making there. And bit by bit, he's becoming a little bit more polite with his treat retrieval. We talked about that the first time. that sometimes they start out really grabby with their teeth with treat retrieval, and it really resolves itself over time a bit. You know, even he was quite bad, and he's already getting much better. So here, if I don't want him to reach away, I might just wait until he comes back towards me a little bit. And that little bit, for me, just now, that was only an inch maybe. He was reaching away, and I waited for him to come back to my hand just an inch, and that was good. It was just him kind of saying, I accept you touching me without biting at you. Very good. And this is going to work down to the point where I can put my hands around his mouth if I need to give him a dewormer, anything like that. I can feel safe putting my fingers around his mouth and his muzzle and his face without him biting on me. Very good. So here, if I don't want him to go that far away, I'll just wait for him to come back and accept my hand a little bit, and then he gets his cookie. Good, so it's important to remember we're not going to throw him in, you know, over his head. We're not going to throw him in so deep that he's bound to do the wrong thing. You know, if I go up and I start putting my fingers in his mouth right now, it'll be too much and he'll be mouthy. But I also don't want to stick around with the same boring thing too long. You know, if I touch his neck 50 times before we move on to something else, he might get really bored, you know, if that's already easy for him. So you want to make sure that you keep things a little bit varied up, that you don't make it too boring for him, and you keep him thinking about improving his behavior. As long as he's kind of seeking and he's excited about figuring out how to earn the click and how to do it better, then you're on the right path. So I'll just kind of wait for him to come back and accept my touch a little bit. He's just trying really hard. He's doing nothing wrong here. Nothing wrong at all. He's just really trying to let me know I'm staying out of your space. Is this how I get my cookie? So that's quite good that I can now touch his jaw without him even being mouthy at me at all. That's very good. Definitely a big change from where he was before.